Hi guys. So recently I made a post on the Ngui support forums asking you to give me some feedback on what I should focus on in regards to Ngui's upcoming features. I asked you what you wanted essentially, and I also asked you to provide an opinion on what you found particularly frustrating in Ngui and what you think I can actually do to make it better. And needless to say, I received a lot of valuable feedback, so thank you for that. A lot of the features that you guys requested, I was able to add to Ngui 3.0.6. As you can see from the release notes, it's actually a pretty big update. It all begins with the documentation. I know a lot of you felt that Ngui's documentation was kind of lacking, and I agree with you. That is why I spent a significant portion of my time documenting things. So now you can actually go to a documentation page, or you can even do it through Ngui. If you're in a hurry, you can also just right-click on the component that you're trying to get help with, assuming it's selected, and navigate to that particular component. So here, for example, I'm getting a help page for the label class, and it gives you a pretty decent overview of what you can work with. If the information here is not enough, you can still navigate to the class documentation page, which gives you more detailed information, or you can simply reply to this topic and ask for help. Oh, and yes, Ngui does support context-sensitive menus now. So here, for example, I can interact with the selected object, I can create new ones, I can attach a box collider, for example, and which gives me the option to attach even more scripts. I can twin things, I can select the widget underneath that I want, like for example the background widget, and I can get help for that particular topic as I've shown earlier. For beginners, Ngui is now even easier to use. You can search for ready-made controls and simply drag and drop one of them into a brand new scene. This automatically creates the UI hierarchy for you and parents everything accordingly. So here I have a slider, and if I actually hit play, oh sorry, it's a scroll bar, I can actually interact with it. There's a checkbox, there's an input field, text box, there's a vertical slider, which apparently needs some fixing. There we go, fixed. And of course all of it is fully interactable with. For those of you trying to position things just right, there's now snapping of widgets. Now the snapping is actually based on the edges of all the sibling widgets, or on the edges of the parent, for example, for us to snap something to the side, or corners, whatever I want. Of course, if you don't want snapping, you can just hold Control while dragging the object, and it'll behave exactly as it did before. The tool that locates fonts on atlases have been improved, so now it will actually find everything correctly for you, even if you haven't used it in a while. Here, for example, let me create an Arial-based font, size of 64, wow, that's pretty big. Now, those of you with a keen eye have probably already noticed it, but the label actually has a gradient applied to it now. It's one of the minor features in the update that actually gives a fairly nice looking effect if you're going for it. Also, if you happen to have two different labels and you want to quickly copy this label style to that one, you can actually right click, copy style, select the other label, right click, paste style, and there you go. Another handy minor feature is Ngui will actually remember the values that you've used last time. So here, if I was to create a new label, you'll notice that it's using the font I was just using. If I was to change the font to say 32, for example, delete the label, and with the panel selected, create a label again, you'll notice that it will keep its size. Same goes for actual sprites. So if I was to create a sprite, here it is using this one. For example, I was to change to, say, this one, and made it simple. And then I was to delete it, and again create it. You'll notice that it actually remembered the values for you. It's just to make your life a bit easier. Speaking of making your life easier, the creation of scroll views has been greatly simplified as well. So here, if I was to add a scroll view, all that you need is already going to be present for you. Scroll view component, the panel set to clip mode, soft clip, and you can actually drag the pink rectangle just like you would if it was actually a widget. Now if I was to select these sprites and actually drag them underneath the scroll view that I just created, you'll notice that they get clipped. Likewise, I can actually reposition it if I care. Now at this point, I can actually drag in a simple horizontal scroll bar, for example, and then link it to my scroll view as a horizontal bar. And now if I hit play, you will notice that I can actually scroll it quite easily. Of course, I can also make my sprites here interactable by giving them a box collider and then attaching a drag scroll view component. And that's all it takes to make it possible to drag the scroll view from within. And yes, in case you're wondering, the odd repositioning of the scroll bar when you just start it up and start dragging has been fixed as well. Because I love you guys. For those of you with Unity 4.3 or higher, you can take advantage of Ngui's new Unity 2D sprite support, which is just a widget that draws Unity 4.3 sprites, as if it was any other Ngui widget. This essentially means that it takes advantage of Unity's system to provide you with the packing that happens when you hit play or when you build, rather than having you create an atlas beforehand. Unity 4.5 will also add slicing support to sprites as well. But I might just go ahead and add an option for it in a feature update regardless. In Ngui 3.0.6, you can also change the spacing on labels if you want, both horizontal and vertical. I've also spent some time in 3.0.6 optimizing performance and garbage collection, and in most cases it has been eliminated entirely. As you can see here, the garbage allocation simply doesn't happen. The only thing that does happen is the mono behavior on mouse, which is on the Unity side. And I was actually dragging the panel at this time as well. Unfortunately, I can't really show you the proper graph because 4.3 seems to have broken it. As you can see, it's doing a graphics wait for present, even though I have it turned off. So, go figure. But in any case, you should notice much better performance and garbage collection. Well, there are more features, of course, but I will just let you explore 3.0.6 yourselves. In the meantime, I'm Michael Shenko, and thank you for watching.